Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. You know that girl in school that, she really ain't that fly. She's a 6, maybe a 7. She ain't ugly. No, she's not ugly, but she's about a 6, maybe a 7 when you clean her up. Her clothes, they ain't the most fashionable, but it's not whack neither. She's okay looking. She's good looking. Not bad, right? Pretty smart girl, as far as you know. But she's not really much to look at. So you don't really pay much attention to her. Meanwhile, the pretty girl over here who's always got the nice makeup and she's always got the nice clothes and she always looks good, you paying attention to her. But then the end of the school year comes, and the girl that I was just talking about, that she ain't that much to look at. She's always at the top of the class with her grades. She's always in the running for everything in terms of awards, and you trying to figure out, damn, what is this girl doing? Well, she's showing up every day. We can start with that, and that's who the Miami Heat are. Not a lot of flash, not a lot of star power. But boy, do they show up. And when they show up in dramatic fashion. And they do their jobs. We're talking about a Miami Heat team that Philadelphia has clearly looked overmatched against them. Clearly. Now, they're missing their big man. They are missing their big man. Miami is missing their point guard. So, does that even out? You take 30 and 11 out of the lineup, which the Philadelphia 76ers have basically constructed their offense around Joel Embiid. Now, when you take that out of the lineup, that means that we got to completely reconstruct our offense. We got to do something totally different than what we're already doing. Because this guy is the meat and potatoes of everything we do offensively and defensively. He's our rim protector. He's our best rebounder. He allows me on defense as a perimeter player to be more aggressive. Well, I can't do that now because he's not there. Our entire game plan, both offensively and defensively, is constructed around him. Well, now he's gone. The Miami Heat take advantage of that. Absolutely, they take advantage of that. They basically clean the glass yesterday, out-rebounded Philadelphia by 9. I thought that was great. I thought the difference in this game, despite what you saw from Bam, not despite, I take that back. Despite ain't the word I'm looking for. From what you saw from Bam, who I'm a huge Bam Adebayo fan, and how solid he is, and how great he is on the defensive end of the floor. I think he finished 4th this year in Defensive Player of the Year. So he's one of the better defenders in the game, one of the better glass cleaners in the game, and one of the better offensive players in the game when he applies that to his game. But what you saw from him, you saw the playmaker that Jimmy Butler is, and Jimmy Butler does that. I don't know about 12 assists, but he does that stuff pretty regularly as the playmaker that he is. So what you saw from them two is pretty customary when they get going. The difference in this game has been Philadelphia's bench. And not just Philadelphia's bench, the difference in this game has been the bench play from both teams. Miami's bench has dominated Philadelphia's bench. We're talking about 94. They've outscored Philadelphia's bench 94-21. They're getting 22 a game off the bench from Hero and 13 a game off the bench from Vic. That's 35 a game coming from 2 guys. Just them 2 alone. That's huge. Meanwhile, Philadelphia's bench, George Niang, who is another D&3 guy, you're getting nothing from him. Just so we're clear, he's 1 for 10 on the long ball. And the one 3 that he made was just yesterday. That was it. 1 for 10 on the long ball. And he fouled out yesterday too. So add all of that up with the fact that you're not getting much from your bench. Your big man is gone. When you factor all of these things in, what answers do Philly have for the Miami Heat? Well, they do have a bright spot. And one of those bright spots is Tyrese Maxey. I'm a huge Maxey fan. I look at Maxey and I look at him, I put him in the same category with young guys like DeJounte Murray and Darius Garland, if he was on a unit where they were building it around him, he could do the same thing that those guys are doing. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm 100% confident. If he was on a unit that they were building around him, he could do the exact same thing that those guys are doing. Because in terms of a talent standpoint, in terms of an athletic standpoint, I think he's right there with those guys. I don't think that those guys are superior to him. I just think he's in a different situation than they are. His ability to get out in transition, his ability to shoot the basketball, even his ability to defend. Just because of the athlete that he is, I think that he could be a lead guard in this game. And he's a guy that you could build your unit around. Tobias Harris, he's one of those hot and cold guys who he definitely needs to get going early and often. I mean, he got going in the second quarter, but he needs to get going often. More often than he already does. The problem that we having with James Harden is that we looking for the James Harden from 5-6 years ago in Houston. That guy is gone, man. That guy is not around anymore. And it's obvious that he can't get by guys like he used to. He can still get by guys, but he can't get by guys like he used to. He's still got the ball on the string. That skill set is still there, but the athleticism looks like it's going the other way. And Miami is doing a great job in switching and forcing him into double teams and putting him in tight spaces where forcing him to make mistakes. Well, he did a good job yesterday in taking care of the basketball in the second half. He had no turnovers in the second half. But the difference was how Miami basically clamped down on all of those guys and just shut the door on them. Tyler Hero coming off the bench and doing what he did, and Victor Oladipo coming off the bench and doing what he did, who, by the way, is one of the biggest bright spots. This is a guy who was a first-team All-League defender a couple of years ago. He was on the cusp of being an All-NBA performer, and he's basically been out of the game for 2 years. And Miami got him essentially off the scrap heap, and what he's been doing for them has been monumental. You know, we don't talk much about the Miami Heat simply because there's not a lot of flash. Right? It's not a lot of star power. There's not a lot of flash. You know, the Miami Heat, we're in the 21-22 season. If I'm not mistaken, I want to make sure that I get this correct, but in the last 10 years, the Miami Heat have been in the Eastern Conference Championship 6 times. In the last 10 seasons. We can honestly say that the Miami Heat have been the class of the Eastern Conference in the last 10 years. When we think about all the great teams in the East, the Miami Heat can say that they are the class of the Eastern Conference. I think that they're going to beat Philadelphia. This would be their second trip to the Eastern Conference Championship in 3 years. But we don't talk about the Miami Heat simply because there's not a lot of star power there. You know, we talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. We talk about the Boston Celtics. We talk about all the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers, Phoenix. We talk about those teams simply because there's star power there. The Miami Heat, that Miami Heat team, that's a meat and potato lunch pail group, and they get it done. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them in the Eastern Conference Championship. Even if Philadelphia gets Joel Embiid back, I don't think that that's going to make a difference. I don't think that's going to make that much of a difference. Even if they get him back, especially at the state that they're in now, I don't think he's going to make that much of a difference considering what Miami is doing and the role now that they're on. And since we're on the subject of star power, I mean, this Phoenix Suns team, it looked to me like Devin Booker took it upon himself that he was going to go after Finney Smith. That's what it looked like to me. I'm going after him. And Chris Paul welcomed that. I was surprised that they didn't go to DeAndre Ayton often like they did in the first game. And I think one of those reasons why was because Ayton, I've said this to you guys in the past, when the big man is aggressive, that energy resonates throughout everybody. That energy doesn't resonate just through him. It's through everybody. And when the big guy comes out and he's demanding the basketball and he's rim running and he's rebounding and he's rim protecting, that energy gets on everybody. And he wasn't really that sharp early. So they kind of went away from him, and it was obvious because their play suffered because of it. I mean, Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic, and I think that Phoenix's game plan has been pretty simple. Not simple. Simple's not the question. Simple's not the statement. It's been, they understand exactly what it is they're trying to do. Luka, you can do whatever it is that you do, Luka. We're not going to be able to slow you down. But the rest of you dudes not doing it. Jalen Brunson looked fantastic in that Utah series. Going after Mike Conley, beating him up the way he was doing. You can't do that against Chris Paul. Because Chris Paul constantly puts him on the defense. Conley didn't constantly put him on the defense. Conley didn't constantly make him guard. And that didn't affect his offense. It's affecting his offense in this series. Because not only is Chris Paul making him guard, Chris Paul is keeping him off balance offensively. I thought they got some good minutes from Bullock because he's a D&3 guy, and you're definitely going to need that. But the difference in this series has been the backcourt domination. Chris Paul and Book dominating Brunson and Finney-Smith. Dominating those two. And if that continues, which is what the game plan looks like it is to me, if that continues, I think that they'll make quick work of the Dallas Mavericks. I thought that this series could be a 5-game series, maybe 6. But I think that they will make quick work of them. I think Phoenix got a lot from their bench. Not just from their bench, from their first overall unit. Like a guy like Maxi Kleber, he's a long ball shooter who that's all he wants to do. And when you make him guard, he's not nearly as effective. That's where Jay Crowder comes in. Whether it's knocking down the long ball, getting into the teeth of the defense, and being a playmaker, he makes life difficult for him. And not only does he make life difficult for him, they make life difficult for all of those guys. I'm one of the biggest Mikal Bridges fans that there is because I was a big Eddie Jones fan when I was younger. And that's who Mikal Bridges reminds me of. He's got an Eddie Jones thing going on, and I love everything about him. His ability to defend, he doesn't get pushed around. Hands stay busy, feet stay busy. Hands stay busy, feet stay busy. Tough nose guy. So watching his game and watching him develop, I think that Phoenix got a steal with him. No question about that. They got a steal with him. And their bench gave them some really good minutes yesterday. Really good minutes yesterday. I really enjoyed that. And I think that they're going to make quick work of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, what this means moving forward, it means that Dallas has work to do. Because it just looks different when you're going up against better players. When I look at Mike Conley, I look at a point guard who's on the other side of what he used to be. And he's way on the other side of what he used to be. Right? So when you're going up against Chris Paul is on the other side of what he used to be too, but he's still great. And Brunson knew that he couldn't treat him like that. And because of that, that's been one of the major differences in this series. And I think that that's going to continue. I'm not one of these people who, when you find out that, okay, we're going home now. I've always been a firm believer in the notion that if you're better than me, you should be able to whoop me anywhere. So what Phoenix has been doing, that shouldn't change when we go on the road. I mean, they're going to have hyped fans, absolutely, but that shouldn't change our game plan. We're still going to do what we do. And I think that that's going to continue. So, since we understood they could continue, man, this is going to continue. This is playoff basketball. We got good stuff here, man. We got some really good stuff. So, I'll see you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.